What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Mustang and today is my final review here of the OPPO Reno 13F, a phone that I've been using for the past 1 month as my daily driver over here. And of course I do want to share with you my thoughts and my opinions after using this phone. And I always like to break it down into 4 main segments over here just to give you guys a more comprehensive overview of how this phone has been for me personally over that period of time. So yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So we're going to start off here with the pricing with the Reno 13F. So definitely with the 13F, it is more of the younger brother of the Reno 13 series. And right here in Malaysia, it does go for about 1399 ringgit Malaysia, which does place it at about the $300 mark. So it's definitely a very good solid mid-range price over here. And we're going to look at it from a mid-range point of view. So in the first segment that I do want to talk about here is of course the holding experience, basically how the phone would feel in your hand on a daily basis. And what I can say is that I really do like it and it does feel pretty good. That's what she said. So what I mean by that is that over here you will notice that it's very similar to the OPPO Reno 13 Pro phones here. So it's very nice because you have the nice simple finish. I wouldn't say it's the most exciting color here with the black color edition here. It's not the most exciting design here, but what I like about this is the fact that they have kept it uniform with the Reno 13 phones to give you that 2-camera or triple camera setup, you know, a flat background here, the sides are all squared off, so it does give you a very comfortable kind of feel in your hand. It doesn't feel too lightweight, making it feel very cheap, but it doesn't feel too heavy either, so it does have a good weight balance to it. And for the fact that it is a flat phone over here, you don't have to worry about it when you're putting it on the table, whether you're going to get some scratches on the camera lens on the back here. You don't have to worry about it because it does fit in really nice and it just lays on the table very nicely over there. And one more thing I always like about when it comes to phone nowadays is the fact that we do have the squared sides like I mentioned before. It definitely feels a little bit more comfortable and of course a little bit more grippy when you're holding these phones for long periods of time. And definitely when it comes to the button placement over here, I do like it because you can kind of just feel it on the right side here, and of course you can reach it very easily. And one more thing to note is that when it comes to the optical scanner here as well, it's very easy. I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable position. I did wish that it was a little bit higher, but for what it is, it's still quite easy to reach the scanner over here, and of course the power button and also the volume rockers on the top here as well. And of course I did wish that they would have given us the side mounted fingerprint scanner. That would have been much more comfortable when it comes to so-called the more budget friendly phones nowadays, but you're not going to get that. And other than that, you know, you have just a very simple build over here. And of course, if you've been using the Reno 13 phones, or if you do want to get into it, this is a good way to set up here and just to start up with this phone. Other than that, of course, we have the IP69 rating. Definitely very helpful when it comes to this phone because you don't have to worry about this phone getting water damage or whatever. Of course, don't drop it in the pool or whatsoever. But for what it is at this price point, this is a really exciting feature to have. So yes, when it comes to the holding experience on this, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so now moving on to the second segment, we're going to talk about the viewing experience. So basically, I'm going to cover the display, speakers, and also the haptics on this phone. Haptics-wise, as you would expect when it comes to mid-range phones, it is pretty decent, but of course, it doesn't feel that kind of 3D, kind of premium feel. Yes, you do get strong vibrations and haptics when you're using your keypads or when you're doing some gaming sessions, but I wouldn't say it's the best overall. When it comes to the speakers, I really do like it that even with the 13F, you still get your stereo speaker setup. It's not the best, of course, as you will get from the flagship phones, but it's still very decent because you still get very good high volumes. And of course, when it comes to music or when you're watching movies and all that, just finished Cobra Kai and all this kind of series, it does give you a very good immersive experience. And definitely, it's just much more enjoyable to enjoy your content with stereo speakers. And of course, talking about enjoying your content, we do have a large display over here, which is really nice. You have your AMOLED panel, very good punchy colors, and of course a huge display. And of course you do have your punch cutout hole here, which you don't really need to worry about it. So you can enjoy all your viewing experience over here very nicely. They paired this really well, and this is something you would think that maybe they would cut in some corners here when it comes to the 13F. but they actually is really cool that they have included here with this so-called entry mid-range phone. So overall, when it comes to the viewing experience on this, I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Alright, and of course moving on to the third segment, which I think is quite important, and that is of course the user experience. And this basically how is the phone performing for you in terms of the hardware and software settings. So hardware wise, we do know that this phone here does come with the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 processor. Some people might argue that the Dimensity chipset might be better, but it is Snapdragon, and of course it does give you very good performance. Yes, I wouldn't say it's the best when it comes to gaming or whatsoever, especially if you want to buy so-called a mid-range phone for gaming. I wouldn't really recommend it, but I'm actually quite impressed with how the Snapdragon processor has performed for me over the past 1 month. When it comes to multitasking, when it comes to opening up apps, you don't really notice too much of a lag, which you would notice even in phones like maybe the 2020 flagship phones. And that is of course really amazing. And when it comes to the heating issues as well, when it comes to just stutters and lags and whatsoever, yes, you would get some slowdowns when it comes to multiple apps. But overall, I would say this phone here would perform really well on a daily basis for most people that are buying in this price range. So you don't really need to complain about it. You don't really have to worry about it. To be honest, it's very easy to just take out this phone, open up Netflix or open up YouTube, open up Facebook, all your social media apps on the go and just scroll through your social media. Really easy and very nice, and it does go in really cool. And it does hold up the apps really well as well. But of course, when it comes to 2025, one thing we have to talk about here is of course the AI experience. And before we do that, let's talk about the OPPO experience here as well. We do have ColorOS 15, and yes, they have added a lot more cool feature stuff here, which are AI based, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But of course, if you are familiar with the OPPO kind of software, we do get a lot of cool features here, like the double tap feature to lock and unlock your phone. We have the side panel, and of course just a lot of fun stuff, and it's very polished, which I absolutely do like. And of course, when it comes to AI stuff, I really do like it here that even with the 13F, they don't really cut out a lot of the AI features that comes here. Of course, the main thing that you guys want to know is of course the camera side of things. And when it comes to editing, I really do like it that they still do have the AI enhancement, AI cutting, which does work really well. And I was actually quite amazed by this because, as you would know, yes, the processor is on the lower side, but it still does give you very good AI capabilities even with the 13F. So overall, I would say that yes, they have kept it very uniform in terms of design and also in terms of the user experience over here. And one more thing that of course need to highlight over here is of course the battery performance. We do have a massive 5800 milliamps of battery over here, which is of course amazing. It does give you more than a full day of usage, and of course at the end of the day you can charge it up really fast with the Super Volt charger, one of the fastest chargers there is out there in the market right now. All in all, it does give you a very good user experience, and for that again, I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. Alright, and of course, last but not least, let's talk about the camera experience that does come with the 13F. And as you would expect, this is where they would have to cut a lot of corners to make this phone a more affordable price for most people over here. And what I mean by that is that yes, you still get a very good camera setup. You do have your ultra wide lens, your main lens here with OIS and all that kind of fun stuff. But when you're taking shots on the outside, and even when it comes to indoor here as well, you would notice that the photos would look a little bit more softer, a little bit more dull looking, a little bit more washed out as compared with higher end phones. Of course, this is not something I really want to get into it too much because again, at $300, you can't really expect the so-called $700 to maybe $1,000 kind of level. Of course, with plenty of daylight, you don't really have to worry about it too much. But of course, when it comes to like just trickier lighting conditions with some shadow here, where you need to test the dynamic range and all that, you don't really get it, and you don't really get a consistent set of images from this phone over here. And of course, when it comes to portraits, when it comes to the rear cameras, and also when it comes to selfie, it's alright for me. The selfie does perform better compared to the rear cameras, which is something that OPPO has kind of been doing over the past few years. Yes, you would notice that the skin smoothing still there is a little bit more overworked, even if you do tone it all the way down to 0. And of course, when it comes to, again, like I mentioned, the colors and just the skin texture, it does look a little bit washed out for me, for my liking. Some people might like it because it does give you that kind of beauty mode, but for me, I like it a bit more realistic and more natural looking. So that's a bit of a bummer for me. And of course, these are just the things that I do notice with this phone. But of course, like I mentioned, they still give you the main lens, and also they do give you the ultra wide lens here as well. The OIS does definitely help a lot when you're doing video vlogging or whatsoever, so definitely that is a plus. And of course, this phone here can record up to 4K at 60 FPS, so at 30 FPS. And of course, this phone here, when it comes to cameras, you know, it's not the biggest thing. So overall, when it comes to the cameras on this phone, the 13F, I will give it a solid 7 out of 10. Alright guys, so that is it with my final review of the OPPO Reno 13F. And would I recommend it to you guys? That is of course the ultimate question. I would say at about $300, definitely this phone here does tick a lot of boxes. It does give you a pretty decent build and design. It does give you a very good, amazing display, good speakers here as well, decent cameras, and of course a very good user experience. And of course, when it comes to OPPO Reno phones, they do give you at least about 3 to 4 years of OS updates, which makes you think that yes, you can use this phone for quite a long time. So that, of course, these are the few things that you would need to consider when you're buying out your new phone. So yes, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this phone, or if you guys have any questions as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button down below for more videos like this in the future. And I'll see you guys in the next one.